Yeah.
Hey guys, I'm here in front of what I think is one of the most exciting cars of the year. If you can't recognize it, it's because it's only for sale in California, and this is the Honda Clarity, the fuel cell car, and I'm here with Steve Ellis. Hey Steve, you're a little dark, but that's kind of how it is.
Well, turn to the light here, how's that?
Yes. And Steve, what's your title with Honda?
I'm the manager of fuel cell marketing with American Honda Motor Company.
And Steve, let's talk about this car. Why don't we do a walk around and kind of show us what makes this car special? And I'm super excited to drive this car because I've never driven a fuel cell car, and I think it's where the technology's at.
Sure, it's an all-electric vehicle. It runs on hydrogen. It makes electricity on demand. This particular car now is up to 366-mile EPA range. So long-range vehicle, 3 to 5 minute refueling, that's what it's all about.
All right, let's pop the hood and let's start with the most important part.
Okay.
What's under the hood?
Let's see what's under the hood.
Yeah, because under the hood, it's surprisingly normal.
We like to say this is remarkably unremarkable because it has many of the same components everyone's used to. Brake system, anti-lock brake here, air cleaner, air inlet, radiator, coolant, 12-volt battery for boot up, fuse box, and washer fluid. So I think living with a car like this, it's not rocket science.
So let's talk about, before we get into the rest of the walk around, let's talk about what a fuel cell car is. This is technology that basically the astronauts use to go to the moon. It's been around a long time, and what you're doing is you're taking hydrogen and breaking it down into its components, and what comes out of the tailpipe is nothing but water.
That's right. So really, a hydrogen fuel cell vehicle runs on hydrogen, stored in a fuel tank, in this case compressed hydrogen gas, and it takes oxygen from the air and runs that into the fuel cell stack. Each stack is called that because it has a stack of plates. Each plate makes about 1 volt. But the hydrogen and oxygen have an exchange of protons that makes electricity, and it's on demand. So instead of a battery that's charged, you just fill the vehicle with hydrogen in 3 to 5 minutes, and you have long-range vehicle.
Yeah, and basically the way it works is you've got the fuel cell that takes the hydrogen, splits it into its components, which is water and air, right?
Yeah, so H2O is the result of the chemical process that happens inside the stack. Hence, water is the only emission.
And then what happens is you usually use that power to charge up a battery, which then powers a car.
So in this case, we're running power directly from the fuel cell to the electric car.
So there's no battery.
But there is a battery, and it acts as a buffer, just like a hybrid electric car. Under decel and braking, you capture that energy and you store it, and then when you accelerate, you can use that. So it's the efficiency of hybridization plus zero emissions of all electric drive.
Yeah, and the cool part about it is that it's probably one of the cleanest technologies there is, right? Because hydrogen is...
It is. You can have a battery electric vehicle that runs off of, let's just say, electricity made from wind or solar. The same with the hydrogen fuel cell vehicle. You can make hydrogen from water using renewable electrons. There's also renewable biogas. Lots of ways to make hydrogen, but very clean technology.
Now, people are asking, will it be sold in all 50 states? And I have to disappoint you guys. It's only going to be leased in California.
Yes, and there's a reason for that. And this is where the network of hydrogen stations has really developed in America. And that's been a conscious effort, automakers working with government toward building that station network. I chair a locations roadmap working group of H2USA. So we are working on where the next stations will be in America, focusing on the Northeast and then the rest of the nation.
Let's sit down because you got a lot of music playing over here. So
sure.
It's probably, you sit in the driver's seat, I'll sit in the passenger seat. How about that? And we'll talk inside. So this is a big car. It actually, in the lingo, it's a D-segment car, right? Which is like a large car.
It is a D-segment car, and very large interior, spacious interior with lots of leg room in the back, headroom, hip room. This is a very luxurious vehicle with Honda's display audio system here. Very nice dash, wood grain material, a biofabric material here, ultra suede, and leather seat interior.
Yeah, and let's talk about the numbers. How many miles on a tank full?
So this is EPA rated at 366 mile range. This is the longest range zero emission vehicle certified in the United States today.
And people are asking how fast 0 to 60.
So we haven't published 0 to 60, but like any other electric vehicle, it has a lot of torque. So it has a very satisfying feel. We'll touch on that technically tomorrow, but this is a very linear, smooth driving experience, and it accelerates very good.
Now you guys are doing, let's face it, a lot of subsidizing of these vehicles because right now the amount of cost of the fuel cell, the hydrogen is very expensive. So for $369 a month, is that right? You can lease it in California, and you also get the hydrogen included in that lease.
That's right. So $369 a month. You get up to $15,000 over 3 years over the lease term of fuel, which really should cover you for 15 to 20,000 miles a year. The lease is actually for 20,000 miles a year, also not a traditional 12,000 per year. So we're really trying to break down the barriers to acceptance of the vehicle and really get them out there in a numbers that has never been seen before.
People want to know the top speed. Have you published that number yet?
We have published a number. It's 103 miles per hour, electronically limited to that.
Okay, well that's good.
It's a single-speed transaxle, so really we're spinning the motor at a very high RPM, but it's a very smooth power delivery.
Now people are asking how much does the fuel cost? Is there a number?
Fuel cost is high today. Some of the stations are at $15. One of the companies in the business just last week announced that they're dropping the price to $10 per gallon equivalent.
Yeah.
The vehicle gets up to 69 mile per gallon equivalent.
MPGE?
So yeah, MPGE.
Yeah.
And so it's very efficient use of that hydrogen. So we believe that by time the 3-year period is over, the pricing will be down to something that's normal.
Now you're competing, of course, with the Toyota Mirai, which is the other fuel cell vehicle that's in the marketplace here in California. And you know, I've done a lot of research into fuel cells because I think the technology is fascinating, and it's in a way is the most cutting edge technology that's out there, right? People think that hybrids are very smart and that electric cars are very smart. Yet fuel cell cars have so much potential. You can use a fuel cell in some applications as a generator to generate electricity. The U.S. Army is looking at it to create actually water for the troops in the ZH-2. So there's a lot of different potential that this has. And of course, the Japanese car manufacturers are excited by this technology because Japan, as you know, doesn't have any natural resources. And so hydrogen is something that you can generate from wind power, right? You can create hydrogen, you can make hydrogen.
Create hydrogen from water using wind power, certainly with solar, any form of renewable electricity, it works great. Also, again, other sources of hydrogen can be biomethane. We've talked about that.
Actually, it's actually burned here. We just burn it. You know, like when in Colorado where I live, they do a lot of fracking. Methane comes out and they burn the methane, and that could be used to generate hydrogen.
They flare that off. That, of course, can be captured. But I think, you know, the key here is sort of like what you said. NASA used fuel cells because they're a very efficient way of making electricity. The exhaust is only water, of course, in the military. That's a good thing because they can capture that water and use it as a resource.
So I got to apologize, guys. The lighting here is just absolutely horrendous, so you're kind of half in the dark.
We'll try a little bit more lighting.
People are asking us to turn it on. I don't think we have the key, so I don't think we can turn it on. Let's try it. Nope. Oh, yeah. Nope, it won't come on. Well, how quiet is it? You know what, guys? We're going to drive this tomorrow, so if you go to TFL Car, probably by the end of tomorrow night, there'll be I'll be editing a video review of this, so we'll have a complete review. Let's go sit in the backseat. Let's show them how spacious that is, huh?
Sure, let's do that.
Yeah, let's show them the backseat. This is a big car. And actually, let me give them a walk around before we do that. Let me show it to them. Can we close the trunk so they can see what this looks like? Let's do a walk around. Because it certainly is a unique looking car. I love this candy apple red. It's got a lot of depth to it.
Sure, so this is Bordeaux red metallic.
Yeah.
The color. Under the hood here, this is the power electronic control unit. Underneath that is the actual fuel cell stack. And then the electric drive motor and the transaxle, so a conventional front wheel drive vehicle, but all electric drive. So kind of unremarkable under the hood.
People asking how wide is it, and I would say it's bigger than an Accord. I mean, it's one size up from this, probably like Avalon size.
Interior space is larger than an Accord, and it's very similar in size to an Accord.
Yeah,
but wider.
Okay, let me give them a walk around so they can see it. They're asking if it has a CVT. It doesn't. It's got one gear, right?
It's a single-speed transaxle.
And you said that right here something unusual. You've got not only aerodynamic wheels, but what goes on over here?
So what we have is air curtains. So air comes in the front here, and it comes out this slot right here and goes over top. It creates an air curtain for increased aerodynamic reduced aerodynamic drag, I should say.
What's the CD? Do you know the coefficient of drag?
We haven't published a number
Okay.
for CD.
So
But, this improves aerodynamic efficiency for greater range, of course, in highway speeds.
all right, let's keep going. I like this is kind of unusual, right? Oh shoot! Well, I just kicked the light.
But that's the air curtain in the front.
Yeah.
Right here, we also have this air inlet right here that goes right through the door, comes out here, and creates this air curtain over the rear wheel.
Yeah,
So,
I like this. This reminds me a little bit of the old Insight, right? It's got a little bit of that kind
a
of.
little bit of a skirt there, you
Yeah.
know, and showing a little less leg than normal. And all of these things are for improved aerodynamic efficiency. And again, for an environmental vehicle like this, we can maximize range.
Now let's open the trunk up, or is it a hatchback?
This is a trunk.
Okay. Look at all that room back there. So what's back here? Battery? Is that what's back there?
So actually, the fuel tank is
that's
housed behind
yeah.
this barrier right here. We do this to show that it actually fits 3 sets of golf clubs, plus jackets and other things. And there's a sub-trunk right here. So if you go to the grocery store, you can put some bags of groceries down there and they're not sliding all over the place. There's also a window that you can see through. There's
Oh
a
yeah, look
window
at that.
there.
Yeah, there's a little window.
And then it's up here in the trunk,
As well?
and you can see right through that. When you drive the vehicle tomorrow, you'll see how it improves your visibility at the rear of the car.
People want to know if the seats flip down in the back.
Seats do not flip down in the back. So the barrier right now is there because of the fuel tank. It's a 2-tank design. We'll talk about the technical aspects tomorrow.
Another question is, how wide are the tires? Are they?
18-inch wheels. They're
Yeah.
235, I think 50, 235, 45.
245. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
235, 45, 18.
All right. Well, let's jump in the back seat. Show them how much room there is.
Sure.
Now, people are asking about hydrogen safety, and the one thing I know about hydrogen, of course, is that it was what caused. Well, it wasn't what caused the Hindenburg. It was what lifted up the Hindenburg. But actually, they've done a lot of research into what caused the Hindenburg to blow up, and it wasn't the hydrogen per se. It was the material they used to coat the
That is
Hindenburg.
true. Even Mythbusters did a segment on it. And really, you know, hydrogen, no different than gasoline or natural gas, is combustible.
Of course.
And so we're managing that as we would manage safety with any other type of vehicle fuel.
Yeah, and the other thing, the question that people might have is, how safe is it? And the one thing in my research I've done is that hydrogen is only combustible given a certain percentage in oxygen. I think that percentage is something like 19%. So if you have less than that, it's not combustible. And if
Well,
you have,
there's an air-fuel ratio
Yeah.
necessary for combustion. And again, we never take safety for granted, and that's built into this. The vehicle actually has onboard hydrogen detectors, and if it detects hydrogen, it shuts off the supply of fuel from the tank. So it's a normally closed tank, only open when the ECU says everything's fine, and it opens the valve.
So I've got a funny story. I was covering the Colorado ZH2, which is GM's version of their first, actually it's a 0 generation of their fuel cell. You guys and Jim are, of course, working together on a new fuel cell. And this is not the one that's in here, right? That's a different fuel cell.
No, that'll be a 2021 type window.
Right. Yeah. Anyway, I was with the Army guys, and I said, "How safe is it?" Because the fuel cell itself, the wall was like that thick. It was probably a good 2 inches.
Oh, the fuel tank.
Right. The fuel.
Right,
The fuel tank, not the cell. The
Right.
fuel tank and I asked the Army guy. I said, how safe is this? And he said, well, I know that GM has fired a 50 caliber round at this, and it held. And he said, don't worry about it. We got bigger caliber than that.
Well, it's interesting you mentioned that the tanks that are in these vehicles really are derived from the same type of storage technology used in compressed natural gas vehicles for over 25 years. Honda's had the natural gas Civic out with a perfect safety record for the fuel system on that vehicle. So this is manageable, and the hydrogen is at a higher pressure, so as you described, the tank is thicker. Structurally, it's extremely strong.
Yeah, people are asking, will this eventually make its way into like the Pilot or some of the other more mainstream cars?
Well, what we've done with now combining the fuel cell, the power control unit, and the drive motor all into one unit opens the door for this entire package to fit in a different vehicle, for example, with the size of a V6 powertrain. So we're not talking about future technologies here, but for the first time, the entire powertrain can be packaged so that it could replace an internal combustion powertrain.
Yeah, I was looking at the ZH2's fuel cell, and it was about the size of half a refrigerator. It was a big fuel cell. And then they had the Generation 1 and then the Generation 2, which is the one that you're working with on GM right now.
Right.
And that is like probably the size of a large suitcase. It's really...
This fuel cell itself is about the size of a desktop computer.
Wow.
And it's putting out over 100 kilowatts of electricity. So what you have is, on this vehicle, the fuel cell itself is 33% smaller than the previous generation with 60% greater power density. So, you know, we keep making these improvements, and that's what's allowed this entire powertrain to fit under the hood.
Now, I know some of the earlier fuel cells had a relatively limited lifespan. I think GM said that the very first generation was probably about 75,000 miles before the fuel cell started to degrade. Have you guys had any, do you have any estimates on how long this fuel cell will last before you need to replace it?
Well, so as an industry,
Yeah.
everyone's working on improving the durability of the actual fuel cell itself. So now we're at this point where the durability is improved, where we can put it in the hands of consumers, offer a very long warranty on the powertrain system. So the exact number, you know, we'll come out more publicly with that over time, but we continue to work on those advancements. After all, people expect the Honda to go well over 150,000 miles with no issues with the powertrain.
People are asking, when can you buy it?
So it's actually, we started deliveries in California December 16th.
Yep.
And we have a network of 12 dealers in California, 6 in Northern California, 6 in Southern California. Of the 6 up north, 1 in Sacramento. So those dealers actually have a demand that has outstripped the supply right now. They have a waiting list.
So what's this pocket for?
This pocket is for
Yeah.
your smartphone.
Okay, I was
So
wondering.
we'll put that right in there and let you videotape how that works.
Yeah, cool. That's
Yep.
pretty cool. Hey, let's go look at how it fuels. Let's show them the fuel door.
Sure thing.
And show people how you fuel this thing. Because look, the downside to any electric car is, even if you're looking at a supercharging station, let's say, right, it still takes a long time for an electric car to charge up. Usually it's about a half hour for 80%. That's been kind of the standard if you have a supercharging station.
Yeah, I mean,
level 3.
all electric vehicles are improving kind of the charge time. Certainly with level 2, you can charge from your home. So if it's overnight, it's not that big a deal. And very convenient. But in this case, it's 3 to 5 minutes. This port, if you look at it, looks identical to what you might have seen with a compressed natural gas vehicle. It's a different size, so you can't put natural gas in this or hydrogen in those cars, but it's the same setup. It connects to the vehicle. There's actually an infrared communication to the dispenser, optimizing the fill time and the quality of charge, you might say. So you get consistent fills, 3 to 5 minute refueling, EPA rated at 366 mile range.
That's pretty incredible. Now, the Clarity will be a platform not just for a fuel cell car, right, but also for an EV and actually 3 models. So let's talk about the different models that will be available.
So we're here to focus on the fuel cell vehicle,
yeah.
this one, but yes, the Clarity will be a line of 3 vehicles, starting with the fuel cell, Clarity fuel cell, then it will be a Clarity plug-in and a Clarity electric. So we'll have a battery electric version, plug-in hybrid version, and hydrogen fuel cell.
Will the other cars also be leased, or will they be sold regularly?
So those details will come later.
Okay.
This one is leased right now. And I think the key there is choice. People will have a choice to match a Clarity vehicle itself to the technology that works best for them. Certainly with hydrogen fuel cell, it's limited to where a network of hydrogen stations are at.
Well, I can't wait to drive it tomorrow. 2 things are coming up. We're going to try to go live again tomorrow morning when you're doing a product presentation. So we're going to do a deep dive into actually how the Clarity fuel cell works for all of you guys. And that'll be, I think, tomorrow. I think it's at 8:30 or 9 o'clock California time, PST. So come back for that. And be sure to go to tflcar.com for more news, views, and reviews. And I'm going to hopefully drive this tomorrow, cut the video, and put it up on Wednesday so you can see a full review of this car. Steve, I got to tell you, I drive a lot of cars, and this is probably the one that I'm the most excited about. I know it's not an NSX.
But I think you're going to find it a very satisfying driving car, great performance, and the Honda DNA that you would expect. Fun to drive vehicle with great performance.
Now, people are saying it takes more energy to extract hydrogen. Is that true? I've heard that.
A lot of fuels, it takes a lot of energy to bring them to the vehicle itself. The energy equation of hydrogen, not unlike making electricity to charge electric vehicle, can either be zero carbon, just like a battery electric running off of windmills
Yep.
running off hydroelectric or running off solar. So whether it's the energy equation of making hydrogen from water and electricity or using like biomethane, there's various ways to do it. It all takes energy. There is no free energy in the world.
Yeah, and guys, keep this in mind. Like right now, electricity isn't stored, right? So it's consumed when it's made. But for instance, if you were to take a windmill and convert that electricity into hydrogen, store it, and then convert that hydrogen back into electricity, it's actually a really good way to store energy, and that's something that people are working on right now.
Absolutely. I mean, there's examples of reservoirs here in California where they flow water by daytime when they need the electricity for peak power and then pump it back up. These are like pumping reservoirs. That's not a very efficient way to make electricity, but it's necessary. And I think that's the key.
And people are once again asking the price. It's $369 a month to lease it. You get, what, 15,000 miles, and you get a certain amount of hydrogen in that deal.
$369 a month lease. You get a $5,000 rebate from the state of California, and of course you can spread that out over the 36 months, further reducing that effective lease price. There's about a $2,500 down and up to $15,000 worth of fuel over the 3-year lease period. And the 3-year lease is 20,000 miles per year. This is a HOV capable vehicle with the California white sticker. So those drivers tend to put a few more miles on a vehicle. We've matched the lease to do that. Again, we're trying to break down the barriers to success of this vehicle and get them out there in volume, because that'll support a station network and reduce the prices.
I know you're not going to answer this, but I'm going to ask it anyway. What happens to the vehicle after it goes back to Honda 3 years from now?
We're going to keep these on the road as long as we can.
Okay, so you're not going to like.
It may be a 3-year lease now, but we'll continue leasing the vehicles and put them out there. It's important.
Okay, all right, good. Thank you very much. And guys, come back tomorrow morning when we're going to do a very deep dive into hydrogen. I think it's exciting technology. I hope that you guys enjoyed this, and we'll see you tomorrow. Take care. Bye.